Hello, we continue with the tennis player. So here we have a tennis player and then we have a tester class to test our tennis player. So we created two tennis players. We named them Bilal Gonen and John Smith. Now let's write a static method, tennis player. It takes two parameters as the two tennis player parameters, and it returns also a tennis player. So it will compare these two, and then it will return the best of them. So in this case, which tennis player is the best? So we should not consider the total score. So the total score of Bilal Gonen, which is P1, is 25. But it is not the best player because the second player, John Smith, scored 15 games, 15 points, but in one game. So we should consider per game score. Okay. So if we look at the method, so this, okay, so this one, player comparator. So this is the name of the method, and it returns a tennis player. So tennis player is the return type of this method. And this method also takes two parameters, tennis player, tennis player. Okay, P1, P1. So here we compare so you cannot compare P1 and P2 because P1 is just an address location. So comparing the address locations doesn't make sense. We should consider the score per game of the tennis players. And we say if the score, the average score of the P2 is greater than P1, then P2 is the best. So it is better player. Return P2. Otherwise, return P1. Okay. So now let's compare this. So, okay. So let me just put this here. Okay. So here we define a best player. So notice that we are not using new keyword again, and we are not using tennis player constructor. It is because the best player is not a third player. It is one of the existing players. Okay. So here when I say tennis player and best player, I just define a pointer. Best player is a pointer or a reference. So this should point to one of these two existing tennis players. Okay. And here I say tennis player equals, okay, so player comparator. So here P1 and P2, the order doesn't matter. If I say P2 here, the first parameter is John Smith, okay, and here in the method P1 will be John Smith, not P2. Okay, so whatever we name here doesn't matter. We could name this A and B, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so just because this is P1 doesn't mean that it is the P1 here. Actually, the P1 here in this method it refers to P2 in here. Okay, so here we say best player is, okay, best player. Okay, so from this method, which one is the best? So we pass Bilal Gonen and John Smith. John Smith is returned. Okay, John Smith is returned, and so best player. So let's see what it will say. Let me run this. Okay, so it says, okay, full name John Smith. Okay, best player is the John Smith. Okay, so I hope this is clear to everybody. See you at the next video.